This official blue warning board, erected by the Archaeological Survey of India, states a strict legal mandate. Entering the premises of Bhangarh Fort between sunset and sunrise is strictly prohibited. It is the only historical monument in the country with this specific nighttime ban, cementing its reputation as India's most haunted site. To understand why a government agency would step in, you have to look at the scale of the site itself. Built in the 16th century into the slopes of the Aravalli Hills, Bhangarh was once a thriving metropolis. It supported a population of around 10,000 people, complete with royal palaces, bustling market streets, and elaborate temple complexes. According to local folklore, this entire city was doomed overnight by two distinct curses. One legend points to a hermit named Guru Balunath, who supposedly destroyed the town when the palace cast a shadow over his meditation spot.
The other blames a sorcerer named Tantric Singya, seen in this depiction practicing black magic, who allegedly cursed the city to eternal ruin after a failed attempt to bewitch the local princess. Today, tourists who visit the ruins consistently report severe, highly specific physical symptoms. Visitors describe sudden, drastic drops in temperature, the distinct sound of disembodied whispers echoing through the empty bazaars, and an overwhelming, paralyzing sense of dread that forces them to leave. Those physical symptoms are real, the sensory product of a specific convergence of architectural physics, environmental biology, and forgotten history. Looking across these sprawling stone ruins, the archaeological and historical records contradict the local myths. There is no evidence of a sudden, magical destruction. Instead, the data shows a city that died a slow, agonizing death. The decline began with geopolitics. Following the death of Emperor Aurangzeb in 1707, the powerful Mughal Empire began to collapse. Bhangarh relied heavily on the stability and trade routes protected by the Mughals. Without that military and economic umbrella, the city became increasingly vulnerable to regional conflicts and slowly began bleeding its population. The fatal blow arrived several decades later. In 1783, a catastrophic famine swept across North India. The prolonged drought decimated the region's agriculture, starving the remaining residents and forcing a total, permanent abandonment of the city. When you examine this cluster of bare stone walls, you will notice a glaring omission across the entire settlement. Thousands of residential and commercial structures still stand, but absolutely none of them have roofs. While folklore claims a curse prevents construction on these sites, the structural reality is much simpler. Over centuries of total human absence, the wooden timber supports rotted away and caved in, leaving only the durable local quartzite stone behind. Bhangarh survives as a perfectly preserved record of a starved population. Because abandonment occurred before the Industrial Revolution, the entire 16th century layout remains frozen in stone, left untouched by modernization. If the ruins are simply empty, we have to explain why modern visitors consistently experience intense dread and vivid auditory hallucinations. The answer lies in the specific way the surviving architecture interacts with the local environment. This topographical map shows Bhangarh positioned at the bottom of a deep valley, right at the edge of the Sariska Tiger Reserve. The steep Aravalli Hills act like a massive natural funnel. They catch the prevailing winds sweeping off the plains, compress them, and accelerate them directly into the fort's boundaries. When those high winds hit the tight, geometric stone corridors of the abandoned city, they create standing acoustic waves. The specific dimensions of these roofless structures cause the wind to resonate at a frequency of 18 to 19 hertz. This falls into the category of infrasound, a frequency just below the threshold of human hearing. You cannot hear 18 hertz, but your body absolutely feels it. Exposure to this specific frequency triggers your nervous system's baseline panic response. It induces a sudden spike in anxiety, cold sweats, and a profound, inexplicable sense of dread. That same frequency is also the documented resonant frequency of the human eyeball. When 18 hertz sound waves hit you, they cause micro vibrations in the fluid of your eyes. These rapid vibrations create visual smears and distortions, manifesting as dark, fleeting shadows dancing in your peripheral vision. The visual anomalies are compounded by the site's layout. When you walk through repeating stone archways and unroofed corridors like these, you are stepping into a highly complex acoustic environment that warps the behavior of sound. Hard stone surfaces reflect sound waves without absorbing them. A normal whisper from another tourist or a noise from a local animal bounces unpredictably off the labyrinth of walls. By the time that sound reaches your ear, the geometry has completely disguised its origin, tricking your brain into hearing a disembodied voice right over your shoulder. Bhangarh Fort wasn't built to be a haunted house, but its decay inadvertently engineered a perfectly calibrated acoustic fear machine. Which leaves one final question. If physics and biology explain the ghosts, why does the government actively prohibit people from staying past sunset? The unlit medieval masonry is extremely unstable, and the crumbling ruins are actively hunted by nocturnal predators like leopards. The night ban exists purely for public safety, but it inadvertently acts as a psychological catalyst. Preloading the brain with specific warnings about a location changes how visitors interpret sensory data the moment they arrive, a phenomenon known as expectation bias. Before a tourist even steps foot inside the ruins, they are forced to read a government-issued warning sign. That sign primes the brain's threat detection system. When that visitor inevitably gets hit by the dread-inducing infrasound and hears an acoustic echo bouncing off the stone, their preconditioned brain bypasses logic and immediately categorizes the stimulus as a supernatural threat. The Bhangarh phenomenon relies on three distinct pillars working in unison: a historically erased population that left an empty city behind, a landscape that naturally generates infrasound, and a modern warning sign that provides intense psychological priming. Bhangarh proves that when history is abandoned to the elements, human psychology will always construct a ghost story to fill the empty space.